Dragon Ball Daima, episode 5 is here, everybody. Last week we were introduced to King Goma's personal guards, the Gendarmerie. The Gendarmerie were out on their king's business, collecting tax from the people, and for those who were unable to pay their taxes, they had to pay with years of their life that was sucked out by a strange machine. Outside of the village, after defeating the guards, we are introduced to Panzy by name. They call her Pangy, though. So they meet her, and she asks Goku right away. She's like, "How are you so strong?" And Goku, he just kind of looks at her confused and explains that he's like, "I just train." So Pansy, she thanks them and then asks where they're heading, and Goku tells her that they're heading towards the castle. Supreme Kai and Glorio kind of, scowl at him. They're like, "Why would you tell her that?" Um, but it's Goku. He doesn't care. He has a sense of things when it comes to trusting people. So she asks if she can tag along because she knows the way to the castle. Glorio says no and just tries to brush her off. But Pansy, she doesn't care and she follows him anyways. The Gendarmerie leader back in the village, he organizes a search party for Goku. He refers to him as the kid with the spiky hair and the red stick. And so now these guys are out and they know about Goku and they're going to try to find him. Goku and Pansy, they talk about their names for a little while, and Goku mentions that he actually has another name, Kakarot, and she just finds it funny. It's a different name she's not familiar with, and so she mentions that his name just sounds funny, and Goku gets a little kick out of that. She asks Goku what kind of magic he knows, and that every Majin knows at least one type of magic. Um, and so she demonstrates for him. So she steps out in front of him, holds out her hand, just a rocket. There's a rock out in front of him, and she's able to lift it up. And so her magic seems to be some sort of telekinesis. But she doesn't seem strong with it at all. Not at all, because she lifts this little rock and she drops it. She puts it down and she's just gasping. And so that's not her specialty, but she actually mentions that her specialty is that she's super handy with machines. So she's probably a machine whiz, just like Bulma. And I have a feeling that Bulma might just find a new best friend. Okay, not a new best friend, but another best friend. Somebody she can talk shop with. I think her and Pansy are going to get along really well. Pansy asks Shin, Supreme Kai, and it's cool because this is the first time I've actually heard him that I can think of where he actually refers to himself as Shin. Like in the World Martial Arts Tournament where he debuts, um, the announcer calls him Shin. His entry name is Shin, but at first I kind of thought it might have just been a disguised name, but now he's like actually saying it. That's his actual name is Shin. So she asks him if he's a Glind, the name we had heard a couple of episodes ago. She mentions that Degesu, Goma's right-hand man, looks a lot like him. And Shin, he's kind of shrugging her off too, kind of like Glorio. He doesn't seem to trust her either. Um, he's not doing it to be mean, but it's pretty obvious right now he's having trouble trusting people because he's really suspicious of Glorio, and now this other stranger just showed up and he just thinks, you know, it's safer to not share information. But Pansy's way too smart. She figures it out really quickly that the information that they're giving her isn't the real reason they're there. That they're there for a purpose, and she actually calls them out on that. And so she's cool. I like Pansy so far. She's really sharp. She's not, they don't introduce the girl and she's just the dumb, helpless, I need help. She's on the ball and she's really smart, and so I'm looking forward to seeing more of her. I want to see what she can do with her technology. I hope she can do really cool stuff with it rather than just like building and repairing machines. So they come to an intersection. Glorio, he wants to go one way. Pansy, she tells him they should go another way, that there's a faster way. And it looks like that road had like some sort of like rock slide, and so the path is just kind of buried in rocks, but it's not steep enough so they can climb over it. And so they go that way, and they're just kind of talking, as they're traveling. And Pansy, she mentions that, that King Dabura, that he was a bad dude, but even in just this short amount of time, it's just been a couple of days, that Goma has already proven that he seems to be worse than Dabura was as a king, which is really interesting because you see Dabura, you're like, dude, this dude's freaking Satan. Like, this dude's bad news. And then you see Goma, he's just this small, tubby little Majin. He kind of looks like a jester. So you would just look at the two and you wouldn't think that Goma was the more cruel of the two among, as far as how they treat their people. In Goma, we know he's still in people's life, years of their life. And I had a theory. Um, it isn't, there's not much to go off of other than the fact that his men collect years of people's lives with the machine. And then in episode one, when they were about to head to the living universe, the outside world, Goma, when he's talking to Neva, he tells him that he can grant him years of his life, or 1,000 years of his life. And so I'm wondering if this is how he does it. Maybe it's not necessarily an ability he himself can just do on the spot, but maybe it requires the years of lives that he steals from other people. So who knows? Panzy goes on and mentions that this is a problem because the average lifespan of a Majin is 1,000 years, and so they kind of have a some way to kind of keep track of how much how many years Goma's men can take from them before they die. And so that kind of really worries her. And she actually mentions that she's 80 years old. She's actually 80. Then obviously that's going to be different for them because she's obviously just a little girl. We don't know how old exactly, but she's young. Um, she might be around like Goten and Trunks' age, or what the demons might view as someone who is Trunks and Goten's age at the time. So Pansy, she leads them safely to Kadon Castle, and it's cool. It actually kind of resembles, um, for those of you who started the series, where you're supposed to start it, with original Dragon Ball. Yamcha, he has an old hideout that kind of looks like this castle. It's just like this fort that he has like embedded into like this giant rock formation, and that's kind of what this castle looks like. It just kind of reminded me of that. And so we get this scene right here. It's probably one of my favorites of this episode. So we see Dende again. So we get a glimpse back into the first demon world where Goma lives. And so Dende, he's in this big room and he's just in this cradle, and there's this Majin lady. She's just sitting next to him and she's reading him a story. And so Dende, he's all bundled up, just like a baby, and he's sucking his thumb and just listening to the story. And this little twerp, dude, I swear, because Dende, he's older than Goten and Trunks by quite a bit, so he should have some sort of like cognizance of like what's going on about where he is, what his position is. But my fun little headcanon on it is that he knows exactly what's going on, but he's just super go with the flow, and he's just like, you know what? I'm a baby again. I'm a little kid again. I'm just gonna have to play the role. So he's just going along with it in my head. I don't know if that's exactly it. He probably just, he's just acting like a baby because he's a baby. But she's reading him this story, and Goma comes over. He's like, Kika, and yells at the lady. He's like, "No, you have to read it with more gusto. It has to be fun. We have to take care of this kid because we're gonna use him to create more Dragon Balls for us." And so Goma seems to want more Dragon Balls. I think this is because they don't have Dragon Balls they can easily access in their world that aren't being protected by the Tamagamis. So back at the castle, Glorio, he speaks to the guards at the front entrance. He's like, "Hey, I'm here to meet with the king. I was here yesterday." But Pansy, she steps out forward. She steps in front of everybody. She comes up, and the guards are just like, "Oh, princess!" And they just acknowledge her as their princess. And so Pansy, she lives there, and that explains exactly how she explains why she knew how to get there as easily as she did. She knew the shortcuts. She knew about the castle. And so that just makes a lot of sense. And so yeah, she's princess of King of Kadon Castle, which is really cool. I I was thinking she was just probably just kind of a bit of a loner or some sort of rebel, who just lived in the demon world and just tries to fight off against or fight Goma's men. But now she's royalty. So they go inside and we get to see a little bit of the castle. It has like a courtyard where a bunch of soldiers are training. We get to see, just a little bit of like the hallways, and the architecture is really cool. I think it's really pretty. It's not super grandiose though, and that seems to be like a theme for here in the demon world, other than, Goma's castle, because that thing was big, that thing was fancy. But this one is a lot more humble, and it's just, it just seems a little bit of a downgrade. And I think that just kind of resembles the difference of the demon worlds, with three being the lowest, two will probably be a bit nicer, and then one is obviously the nicest. Then we finally get to see him, this guy that we saw in the trailers that people have been theorizing about, trying to, guess who he might be or what he might be, who he might be, like a new take on, of an old character. Uh, but we actually meet King Kadon here, and so he's in there. He's playing golf with like skulls, like exploding skulls. This dude's big. He's a big dude. So he comes out, and he actually looks a bit like Pansy. Not, because they have like, because he's a little girl. He's this big guy. He's this really big guy. But, they have the same hair color. He has like this, his mustache, her skin color, they all match. Um, and he looks at Goku and Supreme Kai. He's like, "Are these the guys who defeated Majin Buu? And they're just kids. How's that possible?" And Supreme Kai just kind of speaks up. He's like, "Well, I didn't really do it. I'm not that strong. Goku here is a lot stronger than me. He's your guy." And then Pansy, she explains that Goku actually saved her from the Gendarmerie, and so he's just like, "Oh, okay, this dude's okay, cool. He's cool with me then." He's like, "Thanks, Goku, for saving her." So Pansy, she asks him, she's just like, "Hey, Dad, you asked for Goku to come here, right?" And he's just like, "No, I didn't ask for anybody to come here." Glorio over there, though, he actually came to me and said that he could find somebody who would be able to take down Goma. And so Supreme Kai looks over at Glorio. His suspicions are correct. We know he's lying to everybody. He's lied to Goku and them. He's lied to the king. And so there, he has something planned. I have no idea what it is yet. Um, Based on the evidence so far, it seems like he might have an interest in the Dragon Balls based off of last episode. So, but who knows? So King Kadon, he actually tells Goku he wants Goma defeated regardless. He wants him to be defeated so that he can step up and become the Supreme Demon King. And so, yeah, it's just like we knew. There's a lot of people who have their eyes set on Goma's throne. Um, I think Arinsu, Dr. Arinsu, Degesu's sister, Shin's sister, the baddie from episode one. I think she might want it. And now there's King Kadon. He also wants the throne. And we haven't even gotten to the second demon world yet. So there could be even more. He, the king, he tells him, he's like, "Hey Goku, if you succeed, I'll let you marry Pansy." And they all just like look at him, they're all wide-eyed. They're just like, "What?" And she runs over and starts yelling at him. She's like, "That's my choice." And Goku's just like, "Well, he's like, "Thanks, but I'm actually already married, and I have kids, a couple of kids." And they freak out. They just look at Goku because what they see is just a little kid. They don't know that he's a grown man who was just turned back into a child. And so Goku, he explains the whole situation to him and Supreme Kai. And so they're like, "Oh, okay. Oh, that makes a lot of sense." And so, hey, look, Goku remembers and knows exactly what marriage is. And Goku explains about the situation with Dende and how they have to rescue him and how they have to get the Dragon Balls in order to turn themselves back to normal. Um, and so uh, the king, he asks Goku, he's just like, "Well, so if that's your plan, does that mean you're planning on fighting the Tamagami?" And Goku's just like, "Yeah, absolutely." And he's super excited for that. And I think that's going to be a lot of fun. They have been building up the Tamagami every single episode, and I really like that. Um, and so the king, he's thinking to himself, he's just kind of worried because, everyone in the demon realm fears the Tamagami. He's just like, "Well, this guy, he defeated Majin Buu, so he might be able to do this." So who knows what that could mean about the Tamagami and their potential strength. So King Kadon, he wants to test Goku, and put him through a test so that he could prove how strong he is. He wants to see it for himself. So they go outside and they're in like this kind of like this little training ground, and down there is just a bunch of guards. It looks like there's like 20, 30 plus people, and they're all down there. They all have their weapons. They're ready to go. Goku's up there. He's getting ready. Supreme Kai's a little nervous. He's like, "Hey, these guys are all seasoned fighters. Are you sure you're gonna be all right?" He's like, "Yeah, no, this is gonna be great training." And so, uh, the king asks if he, wants weapons or no weapons. Goku's like, "It doesn't matter to me. They can keep their weapons." And so he leaves his power pole up there, and he just jumps down. He has this big old grin. He's just ready to go. He wants to throw some hands. So Goku and the soldiers, their fight starts, and this is definitely the best fighting like sequence we've gotten so far. We're only 5 episodes in, but it seems every episode it just steps up. It just goes up and improves just more and more and more. Um, the action is just building up, and I think they're building up to some really good stuff. I am really excited for some of these bigger fights coming up, like with the Tamagami. So Goku, he just goes in on these guys. He's just going. He's just throwing all these punches, moving around them, dodging all their weapons. We see one of the things I like about Dragon Ball, is when it comes to like the choreography, you can see every single movement. You know exactly what is happening. You know where each fist is getting thrown. You can see where every kick is getting thrown. Other series have a tendency of like having just so much on the screen, like so much flashy animation or something, or and just so much, like blurred movement. It just kind of comes off like a mess sometimes. But Dragon Ball has always just been so clear. And obviously there's times, where they're throwing so punches so fast you just can't see them. But when they want you to see what's going on, you can see every single detail. And this fight, beautiful. Beautiful fight. Really liked it a lot. So Goku, he works these guys. He crushes all of them. And and he's just having the time of his life. And so they all gang up on him. So he gets like 15 people. They're all just grabbing hold of him, and Goku just has this big smile on his face. Powers up, his starts glow, the golden aura starts glowing. Boom, and he just explodes, and just for just an instant too, because it's almost like a blink and you miss it moment. Goku goes Super Saiyan, just throws them all off of him, and then and then next time you see him, he's just standing there. He's just got the golden aura around him. His regular hair, he's just standing there. He's just loving it. And so am I. Great fight. Goku just dominates them all. And we get a cool little, I don't know if it's an Easter egg, but so Goku, like one of the final guys, before he wins, he jumps up, holds out his hand like right in front of the dude's face, just flicks him, just like what Beerus does to him in Battle of Gods. Just flicks him, and the guy just crashes into the ground. He's done. um, and so yeah, I don't know. I think that is a little Easter egg. It could have been a little teaser or just like a maybe a little callback to that moment. So after Goku finishes wowing everybody, including us, they get their plane. They get taken to the plane that they have, and it's a bit of a junker. It's this big old ship. It looks like the one. It kind of looks similar to the design that the plane Bulma would always fly around in. The one like when Goku had the heart virus and stuff, and the one in the anime where Krillin fights off in Perfect Cell, and that thing. Um, and so he has this big old thing, and he's just like, "Hey, sorry guys, this is all we have." And that kind of furthers my theory that even though he's a king, he might not have, just heaps of money, and that things might be tight for them. Or maybe it's because Goma, maybe he's able to tax the lower demon worlds too. I don't know. And so here we get to meet another character that we saw in the trailer. He's like that tubby little like Majin. He kind of looks like a little bit like Neko Majin, but a penguin. I don't know how to describe him. He's just this tubby little Majin. He's just dancing around. He actually says he's doing ballet. And I think his name is Habis. Um, So the king calls him over, and uh, Shin, he comes to he speaks to the king. He's like, "Hey, could you do us a favor? Our friends are gonna be here soon, but they don't know the pin number. They don't know how to navigate warp. They they won't have any idea of what to do." And he's like, "Could you uh deliver, the pin number to them just so they don't have to worry about that?" And so the king he calls Hibis over, and he basically just assigns them. He says like, "Hey, I need you to go to the outside world, go to this location and bring these people here, escort them here." And so he's like, okay. He pulls out this what looks like a little dragon radar, and this thing's cool. This thing's really pretty. So he pulls it out and turns on the screen, and it's just like super, like this hollow map and stuff, and it's just really detailed. And Supreme Kai explains, where in Goku, they explain where the lookout is because that's where they should be right now. And so he actually is able to pull up the lookout on this little radar, and you can see it just like an actual image. And so this thing's advanced. Like they got some crazy technology down there. So so King Kadon, he orders his men. He kind of tries to do it discreetly. He's just like, "Hey, I need you guys to go and steal a plane," and so that he can go and gather these people and bring them here. And they're like, "Yes, sir." And so they all take off because he doesn't have any other planes available. Um, and so Mr. Pansy, she pulls up. She's got this big old thing. If any of you have seen Fairy Tale, you'll know what I'm talking about. So there's this scene like where Urza, they're going on a trip, out on this mission. She pulls up, everyone packs really light, but she's got like 50 suitcases and all these things. That's what Pansy does here. She's just got this big old load of luggage, and she just stuffs it all into the plane. Um, and Glorio, he's just hating this the whole time. He doesn't like Pansy, so I don't know. It's like, come on, dude, she's cool. Give her a chance. And the king, he's pretty worried. He's just like, oh, he said, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm going with him. I'm going to help him. And so Pansy's really brave. She's really brave. She wants to help out. She wants to go and see the downfall of Goma. And so her father's pretty worried, and Goku's just like, hey, don't worry about it. I'll protect her if things get hairy. And so uh, Pansy, her and Goku hit it off. They get along really well. It does remind you of when Goku and Bulma kind of became friends. So they solidify their friendship with the fist bump. So they say their farewells. Shin, he pulls Goku aside really quick. He talks to him about Glorio. He's just like, "Hey, dude, I have a bad feeling about this guy. He's been lying to us about this. He lied to the king. We need to keep an eye on him." And Goku's just like, it'll be fine. I don't think it's a big deal. And that Goku, he is naive, but Goku does have a sense about people too. That isn't usually wrong. Like he knows when he can trust somebody. So I don't think Glorio has any like super malicious things as far as like hurting Goku or anything like that, but I think he does have some sort of agenda that he wants to um fulfill in the demon world. So who knows what that could be. So they get on the ship, they take off, they stuff the plane full of all the luggage, and it's just and they crawl Pansy, she crawls through like all the luggage, and she's just sticking her head, through the other side, and they fly off. And I kid you not, it's like 10 seconds of flying, and then they blow an engine. Just boom! And they just start free falling, and Pansy's just like, I don't think the ship can carry all this luggage that I brought on. And so she just like overloaded the engine just because she exceeded the weight capacity. Um, so they start free falling, and that's really where the episode ends. It's a free fall, and they crash, and that's literally where the episode ends. No, it's obvious they're fine. That kind of stuff isn't going to hurt them, but they might be stuck walking again unless Pansy is able to repair their plane. Um, but yeah, that was it. That's where the episode ends. I really liked it. I think it was the best episode so far. Again, every week it seems to be getting better and better. We get more and more action every time. We keep getting lore. I really like these characters. I really like Pansy. I like King Kadon. I think they were really cool. They have a sweet little relationship, father-daughter relationship. Um, he was a really nice guy. I hope we get to see more of him again. Uh, but yeah, that was it. There's not again not a ton. Well, quite a bit happened, but just nothing as far as like major battles. We finally reached the king of the third demon realm, King Kadon. Demon world. I keep saying that. We meet King Kadon finally. Find out we got Panzy. She's on board. She's part of the squad now. Find out she's a princess. King Kadon, he wants Goma to be defeated because he wants to be the supreme demon king. Um, and yeah, they're on their way. They have a plane, but now they are stranded. Not stranded. They're just gonna walk probably or just repair it. But solid episode. Best one so far. Really enjoyed it. If you haven't, I highly recommend it. It's available on Crunchyroll and Hulu and even on Netflix now. And I believe the English dub is also starting really soon. I think either tomorrow, like on the 9th, through like the 11th. They're airing the first three episodes in some theaters, so you should check out your local theater and see if that's available for you. It'd be really fun to watch. Um, but yeah, that's it, guys. Um, we'll call it a wrap here. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please like and subscribe. It always helps me out. And we will catch you guys next time. Take care.